Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Chris Davis. Okay, so in this video we're going to review Game of Thrones Season 2. So if you have not watched my review of Game of Thrones Season 1, I'll have an end card somewhere up here so you can go look at it. Spoiler warning, if you have not seen Game of Thrones Season 2 and you don't want to hear any spoilers, please click off this video, watch Season 1 through 2, then come back. If you've already seen Game of Thrones Season 1 through 8, or if you don't care about spoilers, please keep watching. That being said, let's get into it. So, Game of Thrones Season 2. So, what did I think of the season? I thought the season was amazing. I mean, Season 1 was amazing, it was phenomenal, but Season 2 just keeps the momentum going. So, in this video, the characters I really want to focus on is Tyrion Lannister, because he's very important. Jon Snow, Theon Greyjoy, well, of course, Daenerys Targaryen, and maybe talk a little bit about Arya Stark, the youngest daughter. So, with that being said, let's start with Tyrion Lannister. So Tyrion Lannister, at the end of Season 1, was made the Hand of the King. The reason for that is Tywin, the father, would have been Hand of the King, but he's leading the Lannister army and the army of the king against the Starks, because the Starks are rebelling because Joffrey had killed Ned Stark, which sparked the entire war. Now the Starks they're going to fight, and the Lannisters have no choice but to fight back. Robb Stark so far has been winning the battles against the Lannisters, so he's the oldest son of Ned Stark. Tyrion Lannister has been sent to King's Landing to be Hand of the King and make sure Joffrey doesn't do any more things that are stupid and crazy. Tyrion Lannister actually helps out a lot with King's Landing and make sure the kingdom is run. He puts the council on check. He outsmarts everybody, even the bald guy who likes to spy on people, and the one who owns the brothel. He really gets the old man. He plays this really cool trick where he tells them something. He gets each council member by themselves, and he tells them something that he's going to do. And it's different what he says. He says something different to each council member. And so he plays this little trick, and he learns about who he can't trust on the council. He can't trust any of them, but he figures out who he really can't trust, and it's the old man. And he catches the old man in bed with another woman, and he has the old man locked up. So what he lacks in being physically and being strong, he makes up for more of it with his mind and strategy and tactics, and able to read people and think ahead. Peter Dinklage does a great job playing Tyrion Lannister. Anyway, Tyrion Lannister does a great job making sure that the main capital is ready to defend against Starks, and then the Baratheons that are trying to claim the throne, because they learned that Joffrey is not the real king. He's not the heir to the king, not by blood. It's one of the Baratheons, the next in line. Stannis Baratheon, the middle brother, he's next in line to be king, and now the Baratheons are trying to seize the kingdom from the Lannisters. So Tyrion has to prepare the kingdom to battle the Lannisters and the oncoming attack from the Baratheons. So in Season 1, he did this, and he picked up some chemical goo that was picked up in Season 1, and he uses it in Season 2. I'm going to talk about it later in this video, but Tyrion Lannister did an amazing job as Hand of the King. because usually with the lore we get that the hand of the king doesn't do so well with the council, that they usually die or something like that. But Tyrion Lannister just outsmarts everyone on the council, and he's always 3 steps ahead of Jon Snow. So Jon Snow, he's with the Night Watch. They're the rangers of the Night Watch. They're leaving the wall and they're going out to the wilderness to meet whatever's out there head on. While they're on this journey, they see other Night Watch deserters that are not part of the Night Watch, and like one man is like has a whole village to himself, and he's doing stuff he's not supposed to. I'm not gonna say it because you may get this YouTube video flagged, but the leader of the Night Watch knows what this deserted ranger is doing, and what this deserted ranger is doing, and he lets him do it because he's helping the Night Watch overall in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, for Jon Snow, things turn south, no pun intended, when they go further up north and they see more wildlings, more free people, and they capture a woman. Jon Snow was supposed to kill her, but he doesn't have the heart to do it, and that comes back to bite him when the rest of his men get killed, and then he and then his captain, they get captured. And then in season 2, the captain tells him that he can still serve the Night Watch, but he has to do what needs to be done. And so they do this act, and Jon Snow kills the captain, and then the wildlings are taking Jon Snow to meet the king of the north beyond the wall. So what else? Yes, Theon Greyjoy. So Theon Greyjoy in this season, he's fighting with Robb Stark. He's encouraging him when he's second guessing himself. He's like helping him defeat the Lannisters, and the Starks are doing really well against the Lannisters. They haven't lost a single battle against them, and they even captured Jaime Lannister, the King Slayer. And like they're doing really well. People are even taking note. Even the Lannisters are taking note that Robb Stark is doing a really great job leading men, even at his young age. They didn't think he was going to do so well. They thought he was going to be inexperienced and he was going to lose the battle for them. But he's been making strategic plays, and he's been making really bold decisions, and that has really thrown the Lannisters off, and which has gotten Robb Stark as like general 3 successful battle wins against the Lannisters. But with Theon Greyjoy, Theon Greyjoy was given a task by Robb Stark to go visit his old family in the Iron Islands, recruit them, help them fight the war, and if they help them win, they can be king of the Iron Islands. This backfires against Robb Stark, because when he sends Theon Greyjoy back to the Iron Islands, Theon Greyjoy, he tries to recruit his father. He tries to tell his father, hey, help the Starks in their war effort against the Lannisters and you'll be king of the Iron Islands. Instead of the father joining the Starks' cause, what the father does is he pokes at Theon Greyjoy's insecurity. He pokes that, hey, you're not my true son. You're a Stark now. I'm not going to help you like with your war. You're a Stark. You're not a Greyjoy. I'm not helping you. He even diminishes him, belittles him by saying, hey, you're not a real man. You're wearing girly clothes and stuff, and I'm not going to listen to you because you're not a Greyjoy. You're a Stark. And then Theon Greyjoy, instead of using his deductive reasoning and using his common sense and saying to his father, hey, if I'm more Stark, well, he does say, he says this, but he doesn't follow through with it. Instead of using his common sense as deductive reasoning and saying, hey, I am Morris Stark now, but I'm Morris Stark now because you started a war and you lost it, and you had both your sons killed, and then you had me taken away to the enemy, so I was living with the enemy. So yes, I am more Stark than Greyjoy now because it's not my fault. It wasn't in my control. It was what you did or what you failed to not do. So it's not my fault that I'm more Stark than Greyjoy, that the Starks raised me longer than you did. Look, we're doing you a favor. Like, Iron Islands, they don't look too impressive. Your castle's nice, but the rest of the kingdom, not so much. So if you want more allies, if you want to be like the official king of the Iron Islands, help the Starks defeat the Lannisters, and it's yours. And then the old man says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have something handed to me. If I want something, I'll go ahead and I'll take it. Theon Greyjoy at this point, what he should have said is like, okay, I'm out of here. I don't care if you say that I'm more Stark than Greyjoy. Okay, if I am, that's your fault. You're the one that lost the war. You're the one that gave me away. Instead of just walking away, he feels like he needs to prove something to this old man. And so he betrays Robb Stark, and he betrays the Starks, the family that treated him right, the family that he wasn't a prisoner. I don't care what anyone says. He wasn't a prisoner. How are you a prisoner and like you're fed like 3 meals a day? You're treated like family. You're not locked up in a cell. Oh, you're not treated as a servant. You're practically treated as a Stark, and then you go ahead and betray that family for your estranged father. I mean, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Now they just made Theon Greyjoy like irredeemable because he seizes Winterfell, he kills, I think, Catelyn Starks, that's Ned Stark's wife. He kills her bannerman, and then the old man that was tending to Winterfell, he kills him. So like Theon Greyjoy at this point is like he's unredeemable. How can he redeem himself after he betrayed the family that treated him right? Yes, you were taken away from your original family, but it was your original family's fault. You were with this other family, but you weren't treated like a second-class citizen. You weren't treated less than. You were practically treated as one of their families. So how could you go ahead and betray them like that? So Theon Greyjoy, like, I really don't like his character right now. He was good until he did that betrayal. It's like, how could you do that, man? How could you do something like that? Anyway, moving on. Arya, she's alone by herself. She's portraying herself as a boy because if people know who she really is, people know that she's Ned Stark's daughter, they'll kill her. So she has to make sure no one figures that out. Some people figure it out, but they're not going to rat her out. Anyway, she's alone by herself. She's trying to survive on her own. She's eventually the cupbearer of Tywin Lannister. Tywin Lannister never called her out about who she truly is, but I believe he knew who she was. He knew that she was Ned Stark's daughter, and I believe if he didn't have to leave and do some military campaign, he would have like used her as a bargaining chip or some way to either end the war with the Starks or get some kind of advantage against Robb Stark. I believe he knew. He was just smart enough not to say anything yet. And if he could have stayed in Harrenhal, he would have used Arya for some kind of big plan scheme. Now with Daenerys Stormborn, Daenerys Targaryen. They say Daenerys Stormborn, but I guess that's both her names. So Daenerys Stormborn, Daenerys Targaryen. She's a Targaryen. So she's leading the Dothraki, and they're in a desert. the water, no food, and then eventually they stumble on this place called Qarth. And Qarth, they're asking them for ships and everything. Qarth are like, "Wait, I don't have to do what you say. You're not my boss." And then one of the council people in Qarth let Daenerys and the Dothraki in, but he wants to use Daenerys for something. He wants her to be his wife, and that's the main thing. He says, "I'll give you all the ships to invade Westeros if you become my wife." She doesn't want to do that. She's been through that. She went through that in like season 1. Doesn't want to go through that again. Eventually, her dragons are taken. She's able to get her dragons back, and she's able to figure out who betrayed him. It was the man who had vouched for them at the front gate, and her best friend, who was a Dothraki, who was her trusted friend. But Daenerys decides to lock them both in the vault, where they'll either die of starvation or die without heir, whichever one comes first. Now back to Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion Lannister was the GOAT of season 2, like greatest of all time of season 2, with the Battle of Blackwater. We see that the Baratheon army is their navy. Their ships are closing in on King's Landing. Stannis Baratheon is leading the charge. He killed his brother Riley Baratheon with a fire priest magic. With the fire priest, you have to watch out for the fire priest, because the fire priest has Stannis Baratheon wrapped around her finger, and he does whatever she says. And even Stannis Baratheon's like best friend or whatever, even he knows that the fire priestess is dangerous, and you have to look out for her because she is very dangerous. Anyway, Stannis Baratheon was able to kill his brother with the fire priest magic, and he has his army. So there's like 30 ships heading towards King's Landing, and Joffrey's panicking, predictably, because he doesn't know what to do. But Tyrion has planned like for this. He knows what to do. He has been using the council people to get information about what's going on with the Baratheon army, and he's able to strategically plan an attack. So he does this really cool thing where the chemical goo he bought in season 1, he uses it, and he does this really sick thing. He sends out a single ship, and then the Baratheon army's looking at the ship like, a single ship? You're just gonna send one ship against 30 of our ships? Are y'all kidding me? Is this the best you can do? And then Tyrion Lannister's his guardsman. He shoots this arrow and he puts the ship on fire, and the chemical goo makes this green fire, and then it takes out most of the ships. And then the Baratheon army tries to charge in by getting ashore, but they're getting knocked out by arrows, and then they keep sending more men, and eventually they have overpowered like the king's army before Tyrion Lannister makes a speech to go battle against the other Baratheon army. And they do, and they hold them off for a while until Tywin Lannister comes in with his army, and I believe another Baratheon army. Robert Baratheon's, not Robert Baratheon's, but Riley Baratheon's army. One that stayed loyal to him, that wouldn't follow Stannis. They joined Tywin, and they were able to take out the rest of Stannis's army, and the Lannisters won that battle against the Baratheons. What else happened? Yeah. So back to Theon Greyjoy. So Theon Greyjoy, this is pretty cool. So he's in Winterfell. Robb Stark has sent some men. They're doing a siege of Winterfell, and they're starving Theon Greyjoy out. And Robb sends a message saying, I'll spare any Ironborn as long as they surrender except Theon Greyjoy. So there's 500 Stark soldiers and only 20 Iron soldiers or whatever. They know they can't win. They knock out Theon Greyjoy and they take off. And really, that's where season 2 ends. So season 2 was incredible. A lot of great story plots going on. A lot of great character arcs. I'm excited for season 3. I've already seen the first episode of season 3. Can't wait to finish the rest of it. But overall, a really great show. So that's all we have for today. If you liked what I had to share, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and all of you have a great day.